Welcome to English Reading for Learning.
The Shark Lady. Dr. Eugenie Clark saw the shark swimming toward her. It was big enough to swallow her whole. Eugenie could have moved out of the way, but she was too curious. It was a whale shark, the largest known fish in the ocean. It was bigger than a school bus. Eugenie let the shark come very close to her. Then she grabbed onto its dorsal fin, which stuck up from its back. She held on tight. The shark took her for a ride. Eventually, Dr. Clark had to return to land. She had work to do. She was a famous ocean scientist. Eugenie Clark was born in New York City in 1922. She learned to swim when she was just 2 years old. Her Japanese mother served sashimi for dinner. Sashimi is raw fish. Eugenie first learned about fish by eating them. After school each day, Eugenie went to the New York Aquarium. She got to know the fish so well that she began giving tours. She told visitors all about the fish. Young Eugenie had her own fish tanks, too. She spent much of her time watching her fish. She wrote down their scientific names. By the time she graduated from high school, Eugenie knew what she wanted to be, an ichthyologist. Ichthyologists are scientists who study fish. Eugenie went to Hunter College in New York. She was so smart and curious that other scientists wanted to work with her. The Scripps Institute of Oceanography in California asked Eugenie to work with them. Scripps was the most important place for fish scientists to work. At Scripps, Eugenie learned how to scuba dive. Scuba divers breathe air through a tube that connects to a tank of oxygen. They can swim deep and explore the ocean. This became Eugenie's favorite way to study fish. During the next year, the United States Navy asked Eugenie to study fish in the South Seas. She spent most of her time in Palau, a tiny island in the Pacific Ocean. There, she collected hundreds of fish to study. A great diver named Siakong was her guide. Once, Siakong showed Eugenie a giant clam on the ocean floor. The mouth of this clam was 4 feet long. Eugenie thought it was a rock. She leaned her arm against the clam. It began to close its mouth on her arm. She pulled free just in time. In 1951, Eugenie Clark became Dr. Eugenie Clark. She achieved her dream. She had become an ichthyologist. Just 2 years later, Dr. Clark published her first book, Lady with a Spear. It was about her time in the South Seas. In 1955, Eugenie moved to Florida. Some people there wanted her to open a laboratory. The Cape Haze Marine Laboratory began with 1 building, 1 boat, and no fish. Eugenie would have to find them on her own. Eugenie and her lab workers took the boat out every day. They fished for anything they could find. They found small fish, medium fish, and big fish, and they found a lot of sharks. In the 1950s, no one had ever studied a live, large shark. Eugenie would be the first. She built a pen for her sharks. She watched how they acted. She did experiments to see how smart they were. What she found surprised her. The sharks were smart. They could tap their nose against a target to ask for food. Eugenie felt very comfortable swimming with the sharks. She was never bitten by a shark, but she was hurt once by a shark's jaw. She was driving her car. She was taking the jaws to show to a class of students. During a sudden stop, the jaws flew forward and cut her arm. She says that sharks are not very dangerous animals. If one takes the time to study and get to know them, it is far safer to swim with these animals than to drive on an average street, she said. In 1968, Eugenie left the lab. She became a teacher at the University of Maryland. She wanted to help young people understand the ocean. It was her gift to them. Eugenie taught for 30 years. She continued to scuba dive until she was over 80 years old. She also took trips to the ocean bottom inside a little submarine. There she saw things she had never seen before. The shark lady was never afraid to go where no one had gone before.
Thanks for watching and listening. Please click like and subscribe for new and latest uploads.